Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick Cousins, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to today's service. Welcome to UUC Day. This is the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. Please silence your phones if you've not done so already. Again, I'm Rick Cousins, and I am the chairperson of the Sunday Services Committee. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury has been gathering for 200 years, and we work to build a more just world, and we respectfully acknowledge that our physical building is located on the traditional lands of the Paugussett people. I'm glad you were able to join us today, this morning, and you are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether this is your first or 1,000th Sunday in our midst, in person or online, we are stronger because you are with us. If you're new to this community and joining online, we invite you to introduce yourselves and where you are connecting from in the chat box in the Zoom session. At the conclusion of today's service, you will have a chance to participate in a breakout group, which will allow individual connections and deeper check-ins. If you are new here in person, please fill out a visitor card at the table in the front and consider staying for a few minutes to enjoy coffee and greeting some of our members. We are one people with many beliefs, origins, and sexualities and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved, just as you are, and you are welcome here. Today, we will be welcoming the Reverend D.L. Helfer as our guest speaker. Reverend D.L. is a non-binary and general avoids boxes which trap them into this or that. Instead, they search for possibility, for deeper truths, and share those glimmers of possibility with others. Reverend DL is presently pursuing a Master's of Social Work and serving as a hospital chaplain. They hail from Southern California and now call Providence, Rhode Island, home. They share that their home and their beloved partner of with their beloved partner and their 20-year-old cat. Again, I'm Rick Cousins. I would like to welcome you, and if you would please, for those people that are not here, for those people in Zoom, the camera right behind, if we could all please turn and wave and make sure that we know, or that the people that are not here present know that we're thinking about them, and turn around and greet your neighbor. Make a new friend, check in with somebody that you haven't seen, don't know. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Hymn of Welcome. You should see the words for this should be in the order of service. The Hymn of Welcome is For the Beauty of the Earth. It'll also be a video. Thank you.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. Source of all to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise.
Please join me in reading from the screen the chalice lighting affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life. If you would, please join me in doing the children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We do for the earth and each other. Now I welcome Reverend DL to read his story.
Good morning. It's good to be with you all today, and I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you in person. My story for all ages, I can't tell if there's children in the hall or not, but either way, I invite you to hear it with the childlike part of yourself. The title is The Rhino Who Swallowed a Storm. One morning, as Micah hid under her blanket, afraid of the storm outside, as rain crashed against the glass, as wind rattled the shutters, she felt scared. More than anything, Micah was afraid of storms. "And I'm afraid, Papa," is what she said to her dad. To make her feel better, her dad chose to read her a story. Long ago, before there were words, animals roamed the world. Rhinos especially lived everywhere. But one day they too had a storm, and rainwaters forced the rivers to overflow. The rhino, just like Micah Mouse, got so scared. In a matter of minutes, the rhino's world was just torn apart. And Rhino looked at his world, panicked. And then he did the unthinkable. He swallowed the storm. In his body, he could feel the storm raging inside. In the storm, in his body, he could feel the storm raging inside. He felt foggy, worried, and confused about what to do next. What do I do when I'm alone and I'm scared? He thought. Just then, a spider stopped by to remind him that he could let go of the storm and he could move through all of the sorrow that he had experienced. But the rhino wondered, could he really do this? Could he let go of the weight of the story he had lived with for so long that the storm had brought? But he knew too that there could be a new day and that the sun would return. So finally, when he was ready to let go of the storm, of the anger and of the pain, he was ready to feel his feelings, which of course is the first step on a journey to healing. So Rhino shook and he shimmied and he stomped in the muck. And just as he hoped, that storm came unstuck. And he cried tears of relief, filling up the sea, and up swam a whale. What a weird thing to meet. The whale taught Rhino that it's okay to be scared. The whale showed Rhino how to breathe in and how to breathe out, and that it would all be okay. So as Rhino floated home on a gentle wave, he felt calm and strong. His vision was clear, and he looked at the world with so much love. He was relieved to know that if he ever lost hope, his friends would lend him a hand. He had faith in himself and faith in his friends. So as he curled up to sleep, he dreamed of a world that was safe and connected. He understood now that it was love that mattered. Love could never be lost. Love could never be shattered. And with that, Papa closed the book. And he said to Micah Mouse, I know it's scary. Bad things happen. We can't always control that. But we have lots of help, Micah said, just like Rhino did. Yes, said Papa. We always have people who are there to help us through tough times. And with that, we conclude our story.
Thank you, DL. It is now the point in our service where we share silent milestones. I invite you, and I will call you by name if you would like to. Please come up to the microphone and share a joy or sorrow that's going on for you in your life, you, your family, etc. The recording of this video will be stopped because this is a shared time and it's personal. So we do disconnect that from our Zoom viewers temporarily. Please feel free to come up, speak, put a stone in the bowl as you feel comfortable. It's now time for silent reflection. And I invite Reverend D. Allen to perform the scripture.
I invite you into a time of meditation. So perhaps you might find your back against your chair, your feet on the ground. Perhaps lower your gaze or close your eyes. This is a spoken meditation, so feel free just to hear it. It's by the Reverend Joan Javier Duval and entitled Meditation for Challenging Times. Holy mystery and silent presence, uncertain bearer of the weight of it all. In those quiet moments, we listen. We listen for the maybe still breathing, maybe still whispering, faintest sign of universal good. We listen between the cacophony of distractions, pulling us towards untruth and falsehood. We listen amidst the shrill cries of desperation, of we've had enough, of when will they stop killing my people, of how much more will the waters rise, of when will it be safe to return home, of how much longer can I hang on. We listen and we wait. Through the tumult of these days, we seek assurance, we seek the fulfillment of a promise made to ourselves, a promise made to those we have been stretched to call neighbor, a promise written and enshrined and as if yet unfulfilled. Help us, abiding mystery. Help us to hang on, to hold on when all is in question, when all is in doubt. Help us to stay firm to our own commitments and our own promises. Lead us back into connection, back into the bonds of humanity that help us know each other as beloved. May we continue listening. May we keep watch. May we beckon love and justice and mercy with our own whispers, with our own shouts, and with our own cries, until all know themselves as part of this circle of love. Amen.
Comfort me oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me. Dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me. Comfort me. Comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me. Comfort me. Comfort me, oh my soul.
It is now time for our congregational offering. For those of you who are here for the first time on Zoom or being present, your gift, your attendance is your gift to us. For those of you, for those members, please feel free to send a check to UUCD, 24 Clapboard Ridge Road here in Danbury, or scan the Simple Give barcode. Thank you.
Several years ago, I found myself struggling with a substantial depression, but I did so very quietly. I was the minister of a congregation And I felt safe sharing this only with the board president and the committee on ministry. But I didn't really feel like I could tell anyone else within the congregation, because I wondered, what would they think if they knew? Would they judge me? Would they trust me differently, hear me differently, maybe worry about my leading them? So I said nothing, keeping it to myself and fearing judgment. I did seek professional help, and it worked very well, and my equilibrium returned. And I knew it would on some level. Like others with depression, we know these episodes will arrive and we know that they'll depart, but sometimes just surviving those in-between parts can be painful. And I don't tell you this for sympathy or for concern, because I'm in a very centered, strong place at this point in my life. But like everyone else living in this world right now, these massive changes in our world creates anxiety, and it creates anxiety in all of us. I'm disclosing this, though, because I'm witnessing just how many of us are struggling with their own mental health in varying degrees. And I want you to know two things at the very beginning of this sermon. I want you to know, one, that you're not alone. And I want you to know, two, that you're not alone. And I'm emphasizing this point because even if you're physically alone, you're not alone. I don't necessarily mean that you're surrounded by family or friends. Not everyone has that. Maybe you are and maybe you're not. But I'm making a more theological claim that there is more to connect into, even beyond other people. For some of us, this practice of faith is deeply ingrained. It might be worshiping the goddess, or a Sangha practice, or an amalgam of different traditions. Some of you dance, or you walk in the woods. Perhaps you sing, or you create art, or you grow things. And all of this and more, it's a way in. It's a way to move closer to that communal body of love, whatever that is that you call it. It's a connection to something, even something physically intangible, that nonetheless helps root us into place. I know for myself that when I'm at my most despairing, I've lost connection to that divinity. That's my word for it. But I haven't recognized that disconnection yet. And it's not until I find my way back to a spiritual practice. For me, that's yoga or walking in the woods or working out. It's not until I reconnect that I remember that I was disconnected. And then I can really feel at that point the spirit of life. And we need this connection, beloveds. We need it however you define and experience it. And we're going to need it ever more. This time that we're living in, it's more of a marathon than a sprint. It's going to last a while, and it's likely going to get worse before it gets better. There's a lot we need to figure out, need to live into, and need to grow with. So if you've been feeling thrown, anxious, depressed, whatever mental health issue might be worsening, well, yeah, this is trauma for many and triggering for most. And our community and our individual mental health is going to struggle. And there's zero shame in that. There might even be a gift in those struggles. Those of us, I mentioned this before, that struggle with some form of spiritual or psychic pain, whether that's depression or bipolar or addiction, we know this journey. We know how to prepare for our marathon because that's been our life. Not that life is always hard, but that we've learned out of necessity how to survive these harder times. We know that joy follows pain. Many of us have also sadly learned shame, how to hide our self-perceived deficits, how to put forward a brave front, how to push through the harder times on will alone. But I want more than that for you, for us, for myself. I want you to be able to share the weight of your burdens. And of course, the voice I hear at this point is Mary Oliver's. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. And meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, over the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. And that's it. That's the secret, that spiritual life can, in a healthy and loving community, provide the scaffolding that we each need, that it allows us to discover parts of ourselves. It allows us to move through those times that feel so hard. And Unitarian Universalist congregations, whatever deficits we might experience at times, we are and we can be that sort of community. I've had the opportunity the past few years to guest preach a lot. And I'll tell you that in UU community after UU community, I witnessed the multitude of ways you reach out to each other with an incredible amount of love and support. If someone needs groceries, you're there. If someone needs an ear, you're there. If someone is in need, you're there. So I invite us in this most unusual of times to take this practice one step further. I wonder what would happen when you greet each other if one of your questions was, how is it with your heart? We keep talking about building a different world, about coming out of this time of coronavirus, and so much else changed. And one of those changed is the deepening of connections, is learning to hold each other's truth with such love, with such gentleness, that shame is not even a thought. Instead, like physical illness, mental health challenges are met with love, devoid of judgment and shaming. We have the ability to offer each other our presence and to find ways to show up for each other even more deeply, to create a world in which no one suffers in silence. No one's keeping the secrets of their pain. And the secret, of course, is that when we open our hearts for this connection, we too are strengthened. We can support each other's emotional well-being, especially now, simply by asking and also by really telling how our heart is doing during these times. So as we grow in unexpected ways, may we begin with making space for anyone and everyone to show up with the fullness of their being and to be met with love. May it be so.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. The words will appear on the screen momentarily. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. I have two announcements. One is I'd like to express gratitude for Inga and Annie, who actually have been kind enough to put on coffee for us which we will enjoy in a few minutes. The second thing is we are actually having our carpets cleaned tomorrow. So I'm wondering if I can ask each one of you, please, to consider moving your chair and stacking it in the back, and I'll take care of the rest. That would be very helpful to me. Thank you very much. It is now time for our hymn of celebration, Answering the Call of Love.
1, 2, 3, 4. The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love above. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together, as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. And sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together, as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. And the brighter day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision behind. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together, as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call, answering the call, answering the call of love. Hands joined together, as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love.
You know, in the before times, meaning before coronavirus, I would have invited you to hold hands. And if you're in the sanctuary and feel comfortable doing that, do. And if you're not, don't. And if you're virtual, just remember as you hear these words that you are not alone. Our closing words today are from George Odell, We Need One Another, reading number 468 in our Hymn of the Living Tradition. We need one another when we would mourn and be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die, and we would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All of us are in need, and others are in need of us. Blessed be. Thank you for allowing me to share your Sunday morning.